everybody.
Yo.
And
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the funeral, I guess.
we're gonna have a great time today talking all about video game stuff, and it's gonna be wonderful, and we're gonna have a laugh, and it's gonna be really, really good. I'm sorry.
Why is he talking about that?
I'm trying because usually at the beginning of every podcast, someone makes me laugh, and I ruin the intro. So this time I'm trying to be very.
So we're going solemn this time,
We're
which
going
is
very
also
solemn.
making him laugh now.
Hello,
You can't
everyone.
win, Jerel. This
Someone's
technique
gonna
doesn't
get-
work.
Get fucked over. So let's start with the Bafta
Shit.
Awards. Alright, for any listeners, Gabe literally almost just fell out of his chair. Let's start with the Bafta Awards. So I am going to tell you guys what won what, and then just, if you have any opinions on any of these titles and any of the categories that they won, just let me know. So,
Okay.
The Last of Us Part 2 won for Best Animation, Hades won for Artistic Achievement, Ghost of Tsushima won for Audio Achievement, very interesting. Hades won Best Game, Sackboy: A Big Adventure won the British Game Award, Carrion won the Debut Game, Sea of Thieves won the Evolving Game Award. That's not funny, it's a great game, I'm sure. Sackboy: A Big Adventure won Best Family, Hades won Game Design, Animal Crossing New Horizons won Game Beyond Entertainment. What a great fucking, idea. Animal Crossing New Horizons
That's a good
also
name
won...
for what? Yeah,
I'm sorry, say it again?
I was gonna say that's a good name for Animal Crossing because we've debated this on the regular Game of the Year podcast about how it may not be the best game, but I think it was an important game. So that's a pretty good category for it.
Animal Crossing New Horizons also won Best Multiplayer.
Hmm.
um,
Yeah,
Marvel Spider-Man
yeah.
Miles
Could be.
Morales won Best Music Score.
Okay, cool.
Hades won for Narrative. Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition run Original Property. Laura Bailey won for a performance in a leading role for Last of Us 2. I love Laura Bailey, I can't be mad at that. Logan Cunningham won for performer in a supporting role for Hades. Dreams won for technical achievement, and The Last of Us Part 2 won
Wonderful.
for, what is this? The Game of the Year. I mean, I guess. Sure.
That's surprising.
Anything on that list surprised you guys? Anything interested? You don't give a fuck? How you feeling?
Where?
I care. It's
Where's
just
this
nothing
list from
surprised
again?
me.
It's the BAFTA Awards, the video game BAFTA Awards.
Yeah, nothing there strikes me as really surprising, I guess. Except for Animal Crossing winning Best Multiplayer. Like, what? Its multiplayer is fine, but it's not perfect.
Yeah, well, but what are the other options?
That's okay. That's a good
Fall
question. What's the
Guys?
other options?
Warzone?
Yeah, I mean, but so
Almost
these are
any
British
other
awards,
multiplayer
right?
game?
So
Yeah.
it is also what's popular there, not what's popular in the U.S. And Animal Crossing is a popular title, fucking everywhere. So the other ones,
Yeah.
Speaking of multiplayer, the other nominees were Valorant, Sackboy: A Big Adventure, Ghost of Tsushima, Fall Guys, and Deep Rock Galactic Development Team.
Deep Rock
Okay.
Galactic was pretty cool. Pretty well received from what I've seen.
I love that Sackboy is it's like a British game, so it's in every category. This
Yeah.
is our game. Just put it everywhere you can put it. And
I'm glad it's getting some recognition because I hear good things about it, but no one's
Yeah.
talking about it really.
I know, it's so crazy.
I didn't even know that it was out because no one talks about it. I didn't even
Same.
realize. But I guess it would be out with the PS5. It came out
I
at
realized,
launch, right?
No.
I just realized my statement contradicted itself. That I heard
Oh.
good things, but no one's talking about it. I should clarify. It's the people that I have heard talk about it say good things about it.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
That's what I'm gonna say. I just realized something completely opposite. I was like, wait, no one's talking about it, but I've heard good things. I was like, so I had to
Yeah,
clarify it.
Sackboy came out on launch day. On console launch day.
It did?
I thought it came out at
Oh my
launch
God,
for
you're
PS5.
right.
November 12th, 2020.
Kelly, you're so right. Look at me, being wrong.
I don't even own a new console.
And you know more than I do.
Adam.
It's because my brain is everywhere. So Story of Seasons, the new game that's coming out, the localizers are driving the series' newfound celebration of same-sex relationships. This is over from IGN.com. There's a quote that says, whenever we had the opportunity to make the dialogue more personalized or more validating to same-sex relationships, we took it. Who wrote this? Rebecca Valentine wrote this, and she says, the very first time I played a Story of Seasons game, the series was still called Harvest Moon. The game was a wonderful life on the GameCube, and I was stuck playing to my frustration of Boy Farmer because that was the only option available at the time. And in 2004, that also meant I could only No, I read that right. That meant I could only marry one of 3 women. Okay. That wasn't me. Whatever. So she goes on to say how basically
Proofreading is important.
it's like, oh no. I just want to say I read it right. I don't want to bash anybody. Whatever. Okay. So the Story of Seasons franchise, now divorced from its former name and publisher, began at last to incorporate same-sex marriage in 2020, beginning with its remake of Friends of Mineral Town. When the game came out in Japan, it included a best friend system that was basically same-sex marriage under a watered-down name, possibly in part due to the fact that same-sex marriage is illegal in Japan.
What?
But when it came to the West, localizer Xseed wanted to fully cement this critical, progressive change. While localizers already have an extremely important role in making sure games are translated to other languages, as being culturally sensible and meaningful in other regions, we don't often hear of them being on the front lines of major series-shaking changes, but Xseed, with Marvelous's blessing, stepped up to meet the challenge of filling the hole in Story of Seasons' social responsibility up to that point. And this is the quote. It says, in our version, the best friend system will just be called marriage, and the relationship between same-sex couples will be given identical treatment to opposite-sex couples. This has been a very long time coming in the Story of Seasons series, and the producer has been supportive of our decision from very early in development. I'm not going to go through the rest of that, but same-sex marriage in video games. First question, do you guys know any games that do it?
Mass Effect?
Mass Effect does.
Didn't we talk about that?
Get married in Mass Effect?
I thought there was like relationships.
You can have relationships.
Yes,
and there are gay relationships.
so is the question married or relationships?
Marriage.
There's a lot of games
Marriage?
that have relationships. Oh, marriage? No, because I don't know a lot of games that have marriage.
I know one.
I don't know any games that have marriage. Sorry.
Fire Emblem Three Houses has same-sex marriage. Both Three Houses and Fates both have same-sex marriage.
I got married in Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I was totally
Yeah.
That was great.
Does Skyrim have... you can get married,
Yeah.
and I think you can...
It's same-sex marriage.
Okay. I thought so.
Okay.
And actually in Fable, but it might be a mod, because there was... Did you read... Were we talking about that story where the guy was like... It was on Reddit. His wife married a woman in Fable. Like, a woman character, she did a same-sex marriage. And he was like, I know she had to download a mod to do that. Is she gay?
Yep.
That was funny. That shit was funny.
I think that was one of those "Am I the asshole?"
Yes.
threads. I was like, bro.
He was the asshole.
So mad. Yeah, we did read that. He was so mad that his wife married a woman.
But yeah, so with mods, I'm sure that a lot of games have that as an option. I don't know about it in The Sims.
Oh, yeah. Actually, yeah. The biggest one that I've actually played is Final Fantasy 14. You can have same-sex marriage. But
married?
Yeah.
I don't know anything.
I'm about to jump back into that game.
You can get married. Gabe, let's get married.
Marry Jerel. I'll be the flower girl.
Are you gonna give me money?
Yeah, for sure. I would pay
you support me?
Yeah.
You support this family?
I'm literally recently divorced in that game, and they sold my house, so
You can get divorced?
all this money left over that I can give away. Anyway, so the next question is, how do you feel about localizers taking it upon themselves, with permission, obviously, to add something like same-sex marriage for a localization of a game that doesn't necessarily have it included?
That's great. That's honestly great.
Yeah.
Because like, you know, whatever. It's a cultural thing in Japan. They don't legally have same-sex marriage and they don't want to go there. Whatever. If they're localizing a game and bringing it to another region, and you know, with countries like America that are more progressive with such things, and they want to take it upon themselves with permission, yeah, that's a great thing, because so often we've heard of stories of like game series that didn't have the option because it was like a Japanese game, and for the localization process, it would be very difficult to implement a system that wasn't there to begin with. So it's like, oh, we can't do it. Sorry. So for them to take this, you know, this best friend system, and essentially for the, I guess, US version or whatever other version like supports the same-sex marriage, convert that over into being like an actual same-sex marriage system because we can. I think that's wonderful. I wish, you know, I think more games Japanese made should have a best friend system, so it's just easier for the localizers to just fix that. Like to me, a best friend system in Japan is Japan saying, look, we're sorry that we are the way we are. You guys can do what you need to do. That's the way I interpret it anyway.
Oy. Sorry.
Oh, just had a coughing attack.
I really did just have a coughing attack. I'm so sorry. Yeah, YOLO. I don't care what y'all do. Like, I think that, yeah, I agree. Localization.
Tomodachi Life for the 3DS didn't have any kind of same-sex relationship for that very same reason, and people made so much complaints about it that they said that Nintendo straight up made a press conference that we'll see if this actually happens, that if another game in that series should ever come out, it is something that they will address to be more inclusive in that regard. I guess we won't know for sure until another game in that series actually comes out.
Yeah.
But nice. It was at least a precedent for Nintendo to even address that, because enough people were talking about that when Tomodachi Life came out.
Brendan, I just want to hug you.
I want to hug you too, Jerel. You give warm hugs.
I do. I give really good hugs. Oh. So that was really awkward. Sony is developing a Ghost of Tsushima movie with the John Wick director, who is set to helm the project. Has anyone actually played Ghost of Tsushima aside from me and Brandon?
Yeah, I haven't played too much. I really want to play more. I've seen a bits of the first one. It's been on my list forever. Is it on anything? Is John Wick on any kind of streaming service that I could watch?
HBO.
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's still there.
Oh, cool. I recently got it to watch.
I don't know if
It's
it's still there.
The third one was
I gotta watch it.
Wow.
Keanu
It's on
Reeves
HBO.
killing people.
Yo, it was so good. It was actually really good. I hadn't seen any of them except for the last one, so I was like, whatever. Because my friend was like, let's go to the movies. I was like, yeah, yellow. I don't care. I just want to hang out. This when the movies were still open. I hadn't seen any of the other ones. It's not hard to
I
follow.
missed the movie.
I know.
I'm sure it's not, but yeah.
And Keanu Reeves killing people is great.
I know.
And then, like, he loves his dog, and I'm like, oh my god, I love dogs. And Halle Berry's in it, and she loves her dogs. I'm like, I love your dogs too. It was great. Just go.
Do they have
watch
any
it.
cats?
No.
No, then I'm
It's
not
on the
interested.
Peacock app.
Not interested. So something else that we just found out recently was from IGN Korea. There's a tweet that says, after Octopath Traveler, 6 or more Square Enix games will be on Xbox Game Pass. It's already confirmed between Microsoft and Square Enix. The official announcement is in just a matter of time. So 6 more Square Enix titles coming to Game Pass. That's super exciting. I think we know that one of them is Outriders, obviously.
Yes.
5 other predictions for
5 or more
Square Enix games coming to Game Pass. I'm thinking
Just cause.
Yeah.
Oh,
What are you thinking?
that could
Huh?
be, Just Cause might actually be a good idea. Like,
Yeah, that would be actually.
That was so good, Kelly. Oh my god, that blew my mind just now. You just said it.
Sorry.
No,
Is
it's
it really-
great.
is
It's
it
great.
really-
That's the only one. That's really the only one that I've even played, to be honest. It's like, I really like that game, and I know it's Square Enix. That's the only thing I know.
I was thinking maybe Tomb Raider with the 25th anniversary might show up on Game Pass.
Sure.
The new reboot, or like the plethora of them. Oh my god, what is it? It's been a long ass day. And the rest of the Final Fantasies that are missing might end up showing up, because I think they only have 7, 8, and 9 currently. 7, 8, 9, and 12. So
They don't have 10? Are you
no,
sure?
10 is not there. 7, 8, 9, and 12 are there.
Are you sure? Is
I'm
it on
100%
Xbox but not
positive.
Game Pass? Is that what you're saying?
It's not on Game Pass. I'm only talking about Game
Oh,
Pass.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
7, 8, 9, and 12 are on Game Pass, so they might, hop out with... Maybe, I'd love if they put 13 on there. I can only think of...
Dude, 13 on Game Pass would be great.
I can only think of Final Fantasy and Tomb Raider and Just Cause. I don't know, but I know they have a lot of stuff, so... Maybe...
Yeah,
Maybe Marvel's Avengers.
I'd play it if it was free.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're an Xbox owner and it's on Game Pass, then don't play it. That may end up helping the game, at least on the Xbox platforms.
Sound like you said if you're an Xbox boner.
That is super not what I said.
I know, but it just sounded like that. Whatever, that was a good joke I made. Fuck y'all. Any other
Knee slapper.
Oh yeah, who's the one saying the jokes now and everyone else just...
And no one's laughing.
Yeah. Funeral home. Funeral home podcast.
I don't get it.
I made a
Don't
joke
get the
other
joke.
day, and
What
no one
jokes?
got it.
What
And
the
then
joke?
Stop that.
Someone else made a joke,
what
and they
is-
were like,
what
oh
is
my
humor?
god, Jerel,
I
you
don't
got the
understand
joke.
humor.
Well, honestly, Jerel, we've all posted jokes
I
in
know.
the channel now that you don't fucking get.
Speaking
Jerel
of the
finds the
channel,
fact that he doesn't get jokes funnier than the actual jokes themselves.
it's true. Speaking of the channel, so Slack.
It's not. It's upsetting.
Why is that upsetting? I try my best. because
he's doing his best.
We're gonna move on from that because
exactly. Anyway, so speaking of the channel,
What's a
obviously
segue, Jerel?
we, among other video game platforms, use Slack. So it's not really too video gaming, but it is relevant to us. Slack quickly removes the ability to message strangers with DM invites over harassment concerns. And I thought this was so crazy interesting because a while ago Slack opened up its ability to allow people from different channels to DM and message other people, which is, it could be really helpful, right? So like if I'm freelancing for a website and someone has a Slack, I'm just able to DM them, you know, like super easy without having to join the channel, without having to do all this other stuff. If we're talking about video game stuff, it's very easy to do that. You don't have to invite people over to your Slack channel. But of course, there have been sexual harassment concerns because like allowing anyone to DM you at any time is not a fucking good idea. So anything that you guys think could have happened to save this from itself, or was it just a bad idea in the beginning? How you feeling?
As I'll be honest with you, I've never been part of a Slack channel that like where I didn't at least kind of know someone. Like back when we were working on WTF Go, like, you know, everyone that was on the Slack channel was, you know, writers of that channel, at least in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then now with, HP Critical, almost everyone in the general is either a writer or just like a really good friend of said writer. So like, there's never been a moment where I just haven't known anyone. So when you brought up this news story about like sending random people DMs, like, you can do that?
Yeah. So
it's like,
basically what happens is you can send someone an invite to your Slack channel and then you can send them a message along with it, so that essentially, like, if I were to message Kellie, I could, you know, if I were to invite her to the Slack channel, I could send her messages every time I send her an invite, and her email inbox would just be full of whatever messages I've sent to her that she can't, like, stop from receiving.
You'd have to, like, know me and send it to me, right?
For that, yes.
How do you find really random people? Like, if you're not in the, like, how do you find people on Slack? I only, know the people that, like, are in the channels.
Yeah, so it wouldn't be, like, so that's the thing. It wouldn't be, like, usually randoms. It would be someone that you know, or someone that has at least your email address, that could potentially, you know, fuck with you.
Well, it seems like those would be the people who want to harass you.
Exactly, so, which is why it wasn't it wasn't looked at as a big idea, a good idea rather. But usually the thing is, email addresses, and correct me if I'm wrong, but email addresses are usually easy to find. No.
Yeah, usually they're usually easy to find those. For real, honestly. Yeah, they usually are.
Well, that's that. So something else that happened. Reggie Fils-Aimé seems to be retiring from GameStop's board of directors after quite a short time. That's over from Nintendo Everything.com. I wonder if it says how long he was there. Yes, it says that he was to retire from the board at the retailer's 2021 annual meeting. Supposedly this is the expectation. The contemplated retirements are not because of disagreement with us on any matter relating to our operations, policies, or practices. This is coming from the notice, which is over at NintendoEverything.com. The upcoming meeting will take place in June, so it looks like in June it's going to be his last time on the board of directors. What? He was obviously at Nintendo from 2003 to 2019. He retired from the company. He's been active in a bunch of other ways, and then he joined the GameSpot board of directors, and now he's like, all right, peace, bitches. So, any thoughts on him joining and dropping so quickly?
Yeah, time to buy GameStop stock again.
No, actually, that's the opposite. Like, he's leaving, time to sell.
Or, I mean, after he leaves, you can buy him at rock bottom, and then maybe GameStop will make another Hail Mary move that will make people think GameStop is not going to die.
You know, I wonder if, like, he was affected, actually, by that entire situation. Like, being on a board of directors and seeing the stock just rise and crash. Like, fucking overnight. Multiple times! I don't know if I'd stay on the board of directors either. I'd be like, fuck this. Like, y'all figure this shit out. Like, I don't want to be a part of it.
I very much doubt he'll make any... Who knows? But I very much doubt that he'll make, like, a comment either way of, like, why he had to leave. or why he felt he wanted to leave or whatever. But like, yeah, a year. Oh boy.
Yeah.
People were looking at Reggie like, I was like, GameStop is saved!
Yeah, exactly.
And then a year later, people are like, wow, even Reggie can't fix it? Yeesh.
So,
man, GameStop has been in trouble for years, man. I'm
Yeah,
surprised.
I don't believe that line of he's not leaving because of creative differences or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't believe that line. I feel like that's exactly why he's leaving.
Probably,
Right.
honestly.
Again, it doesn't sit right. You said, you keep saying, bringing up it was a year. He was there, to help GameStop transition into the new GameStop that they wanted to be. And GameStop really hasn't done anything. It's still GameStop.
Well, they're supposed to be implementing those, like, they can't do it, COVID, never mind. They were supposed to be doing those, like, redesigns of the stores where you'd, like, you have, like, a hangout gaming spot that they turned it into instead of just a game store. They're selling graphic cards for PCs now. Like, they've been changing. But I guess you're right.
It probably came at a really bad time, because if it was, like, a year ago, like, before COVID, he's probably like, yeah! And then, like, COVID hits and he's like, fuck!
Might not have been the best idea.
Like, can you imagine how long they probably, like, worked on that idea? Like, we're gonna make GameStop cool again, hangout spots. Yeah, we already bought all the shit, put in there all the beanbags, and they're like, oh, no one can go into any stores. Like,
I will never, I will never get on a public beanbag as long as I fucking live.
Again.
Why?
No, not beanbags.
He didn't say again, he said never.
People put their whole bodies on the beanbags. And if you sit on those in a convention or a public place, you are just asking to get sick, because people do not clean themselves.
Seriously, I haven't, like, actually gotten sick this past year, at all, because of wearing masks and, like, all the necessary precautions.
Like, I'm at home.
How dirty was the world before?
Right?
Like, am I
just
go out? I'm just gonna go out now, like, without a mask and just, like, catch
everything.
Like, I'm gonna catch every cold, pneumonia, I'm gonna catch bronchitis. I don't know what else you can get. You can get, like, encephalitis. I'm, like, scared now.
It's like everything is gonna rush you.
Well, yeah, because
from the outside world.
I guess I'm afraid that I'm gonna be, like, hospitalized after COVID.
Well, something that might happen is when the outside world opens up, or even if it's not open and you want to take a walk, Niantic Labs, who created Pokemon Go, is now making the same version. It's going to be coming later in 2021, but for Pikmin. So it's a Pikmin walking AR game thing. I don't play Pikmin, so,
Yeah, I don't know. Like, if Pokemon died, this will die. Like, Pokemon Go died.
Pokemon Go did not die.
It's had resurgences. Like, it died, and it came back, and then it dies, and then it comes back. It's really weird.
It never came back like it was in the beginning.
Well, that's true.
I would consider it comparatively dead.
Yeah, it never got the
However,
but people definitely do still play.
I mean, even with the anniversary did see a resurgence of people. And even right before COVID, there was a resurgence as well. Obviously now, with staying inside, people still, whatever. Go ahead, Brandon. What you was gonna say about Pikmin?
No, all I was gonna say was like, it's a weird time. Like, okay. I think it's an important franchise to Nintendo, but it's obviously not one of their most popular. It's like some of its bigger entries definitely struggle to find an audience, I'd definitely say. I think a Pikmin AR game, while it will never become as popular as Pokemon Go, even at its, peak times, I do think there's actually some potential there, because Pikmin as a game, as a series, it's pretty much interacting with the real world itself. Like the main character interacts with Pikmin in like a world that's clearly based off like abandoned Earth or whatever. So the idea of Pikmin just kind of being in the world, people who play Pikmin are kind of already familiar with the comic and the concept, and people that haven't played Pikmin, it might be a curiosity. It really just depends on how they do it. Like, it can't be just like Pokemon Go, because the whole joy of Pokemon Go was going out there and catching the Pokemon, and it was a community effort. If this is just kind of like a walking simulator where you just like have Pikmin, like, people will enjoy that for a week and then they will drop it. There has to be more incentive. Like, you have to be able to It has to be a game. People are not going to stick with it if it's not a game that you can have fun with. Like, the curiosity will wear off within a week if there's nothing more to it than just a cool little AR thing where your Pikmin follow you. That's not enough. It just depends on how they do this.
I just thought it was so weird. Like, I know that people love Pikmin.
It's a weird announcement,
it's such a niche, like...
Oh, I'm sorry. That's another thing I wanted to say, too. Yeah, it has to be fun, but also it's a weird time to announce this because we're still in a virus right now.
People are still walking. So that's the thing. Like,
that's true. People are walking.
People are still walking for exercise. Like, so I think it'd be really cute to have your little Pikmin following you, but also, who... Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say about the COVID, like, oh, it's COVID, no one's going out there. I actually saw in my neighborhood, there's a family of well, I don't know how big families, but there's 3 people, and I believe they're in a family that they actually walk along the roads for to do use Pokemon Go and stuff.
Yeah, it's just to get outside the house. A lot of families, I think, are doing it, but I just was so like, why Pikmin?
They don't got
I don't
else.
know. Like,
no, that's not even true though. Like, Nintendo has so much. Like, why Pikmin?
But in that scenario of creatures in a world,
that's
what else?
It's definitely not the most popular, as I said. But you said
Animal Crossing.
What else? But how?
But how?
And let me dress.
Honestly,
up.
though,
let me play Animal Crossing.
Oh my god,
AR 100%.
That actually could be something, though. That would actually be kind of cool.
If you can tie it into your actual game, you can get
Animal Crossing mobile.
Because
yeah,
they have a mobile game already. So, if you can tie that shit in, they should hire me. Let me stop giving my ideas away.
Yeah. Just cut that part out.
Hire me. So, don't know if you guys heard, but GameRant.com did break the story that Cyberpunk 2077 senior game designer has quit CD Projekt Red. Zawadski, I believe that's his last name. This is from GameRant.com. Zawadski announced his departure on Twitter, saying that his journey with CD Projekt Red was an honor and a pleasure. He joined CD Projekt Red as a QA tester 8 years ago and worked on The Witcher 3 and its DLC. In 2016, he began working on Cyberpunk 2077 as a junior gameplay designer and later became the game's senior gameplay designer in March 2020, just a month ahead of the game's initial release. He did not give a reason for his departure or what he plans on doing in the future. Of course, there were a bunch of issues with CD Projekt Red that I'm not going to go over with Cyberpunk because we talked about it a lot. They got
epically pwned.
Basically, yes. We've got the death threats. We've got the game-breaking game that isn't still not available on PlayStation Store because Sony still hasn't put it up because they removed it. Brand new title. First of all, what bad luck to be promoted right before this game's launch, right?
Yeah, really? Because he worked on Witcher 3, which was a good game, and all his DLC was well received. And then you get promoted during the time of Cyberpunk.
Becoming the senior gameplay designer for a game that you can't play a month before it comes out.
They'll do that where they need a scapegoat.
Yep.
They'll be like, all right, we got to promote someone who we need to blame this on. And that's what they probably did to him. I mean, he could literally be blacklisted from the industry for
exactly.
this.
Where do you go?
And he got promoted, 30 days because they needed someone to look like the idiot, incompetent person because they put out a shitty game. I wouldn't. What have you been doing for the last 8 years? He's just nothing.
Not Cyberpunk.
I've been doing.
I worked on The Witcher and it's and then I left gaming to discover myself. And I've come back wanting a job.
I've taken a sabbatical and I'm now back and ready to work on your game.
Hire me. I promise you will not see my name in any of the credits. So speaking of seeing people's names in credits, I'm on a fucking roll with these segues.
Go, man.
I know, I'm so good tonight. I'm just rolling through. So speaking of seeing people's names in credits, I am a huge Dungeons & Dragons fan. I've been playing with my group for 5 years now. Oh my god, my cat just ruined this. And there's an author from the newest book from Wizards of the Coast, and he talks about how problematic the changes were to his D&D adventures. So essentially, what they did for this newest book, Candlekeep Mysteries, I believe it's called. Oh my god, cat, get down. Sorry, everybody. It's called Candlekeep Mysteries. This is over from Dicebreaker.com. What they did was they hired a bunch of freelance writers to create adventures, and they put all these adventures together in one one book, and then you and your players can play this book. That's how that works. So this guy was hired to do an adventure, a short adventure, and in his adventure he took some races from Dungeons and Dragons, and he created like very nuanced story with them. He presented them in a proper way. Like he really detailed what he wanted to be done. He submitted his work. They discussed with him a little bit about some editing issues. They fixed it. They paid him, and he didn't hear from Wizards of the Coast after that for a while. And then they contacted him again to do some interviews and talk about the work that he did for the adventure that he created. And so he was on there promoting the book, promoting his work, etc. And then the book finally came out. He read his adventure in the book, and he said that, and I'll quote this, the Yuan-Ti is a race. He said, the Yuan-Ti were reduced down to just being evil for evil's sake. The Gripply, which is the other race, had their culture stripped out, and so on. Colonialist language and imagery around the Gripply was inserted as well, moving them from being simple and utilitarian with obvious culture and technology to being primitives who primitively decorate their thatched huts with crab bits. So basically he took these races and like he fleshed them out to be, not just this like primitive bullshit that is presented everywhere, and they basically erased all of that and made it primitive bullshit that's presented everywhere with colonialist language and a bunch of trash. And so he asked them to just remove his name from the product because he said the end product is so different from what he actually did that he doesn't even want to be credited for it. And he felt horrible because he said he went on all these interviews promoting this and talking about what he thought was going to be a part of this book, only to find out that it was all a lie. And he is a POC creator. I think he's black, but he's a POC creator, and Wizards of the Coast has been in some issues for the way that they treat some POC members in the past. So how would you guys feel if you were paid for your work? By the way, so also to say this, Wizards of the Coast definitely does have the right to do what they did. Just as an aside, like in this contract, they are allowed to, work on and change the work. And he understands that, but he says that what really upset him is that they didn't, contact him or talk to him about it beforehand. Like he found out after the book was published that everything he submitted had been changed to, some colonial bullshit where the white man wins, and he was not a fan of it. So how would you guys feel? How do you feel about the story? How would you feel if your work was changed but you were paid for it? Like if you're promoting it, like what comes up when you hear the story?
It's a feel bad story for sure, because that, it's something that he was clearly passionate about, and he, like you said, he did put in the work to try to push it through, and even understanding that they are in their rights to make the change that they were. It's just disheartening when you waste your time, honestly. When you really want to do something and you feel your time is wasted.
Question.
Like, yeah.
Is your time wasted if you were paid?
Yes and no. He got paid for it. So that's not a complete waste, but I think the key word there is the passion, because he was really passionate about the project. And so, yeah, of course he got paid. So it's not like there's any legal issue there, of course. But the fact that, it was something he really wanted to do and it just didn't amount to anything, it's just like, if you felt so strongly about it and it amounted to nothing, then yeah, I'd feel like my time was wasted, honestly. At least I could still eat. That's nice, but I'd still feel like my time was wasted.
I feel like now, if they didn't use his, source material and they turned it into something else, he could reuse what he gave, he could just reuse it. He still has those ideas. Now they haven't been used the way that he originally submitted them. I mean, he could just, do it on his own.
Mm.
Well,
but, I mean, he did get paid and stuff. And I think the worst part about how he would feel would be, that he supported this and he, did interviews and was like,
right.
I'm so proud. And then they turned it into something not what he gave them. So I would be, separating myself entirely. He got paid. He gave them ideas. The transaction's over. They can take his name out of the credits. I feel like I probably would and just pretend it never happened. That transaction is over. You got paid. You supplied them with what they asked. I would just consider it over.
Yeah. For a little bit of context, it's he took an evil race and he made them more nuanced. He gave them, you know, like
Yeah.
a way to be viewed that's not just, oh, they're evil for evil's sake. And he added cultural elements to another race, and then it was just removed, and they were just like, oh no, these are just primitive people, and that like literally used the language primitive in the book, which is something that he completely avoided on purpose. And I believe they took the basic premise of the adventure that he created, but they kind of changed those nuanced moments that he specifically put in there. And so, you know, it's like if I wrote, you know, something uplifting black people, and it was changed to something that's stereotypical to black people, and I'm out here like, yeah, go read what I wrote, guys, it's fucking wonderful. And then people read it and they're like, what the fuck, he hates his own race. Like that's essentially
right. Yeah, you don't want to be
be
credited to a part of that, so I get that for sure. And damn, he was really just trying to improve their existing story, and they said nah.
It's so disappointing. Gabe, did you want to add in on this before I move on?
Just, you know, I got paid for it. It's like Kelly said, you got paid for it, and now you can just take your idea and put it somewhere else, since they already basically changed everything in it. You take my name's not the credit. So,
right.
I mean, in a sense, yeah, your time was wasted because you could have been looking for someone else that would actually take your idea and not change it completely. But at the same time, it's like, I got paid to give you character names at this point. That's literally all I got paid for.
It's like, I think what upsets me the most is being, you know, getting this opportunity, right? Like, if you know, if I was contacted by Wizards of the Coast to write a D&D adventure, and I've been playing D&D, and I look up to them, and I'm like a huge nerd, and then I get this opportunity, I do it, and then it's just dashed by bullshit. Because, you know, higher-ups decided that they want to change everything I do. Well, fuck y'all. Go suck my dick, you assholes. Speaking of sucking dicks, that's actually not a good segue. I don't have another one. I ran out of segue.
Just roll with it.
I'm gonna roll with it. Supposedly, Bloomberg has an article that says the next Nintendo Switch will use a new NVIDIA chip that supports DLSS to produce 4K visuals. Obviously, there have been a bunch of rumors about this new 4K Switch. I'm sure I think we have a question up on our Twitter right now about what you'd like to see in a 4K
Answer
Switch.
it, people.
For the love of God, please.
But, so, how would you guys feel about a new 4K Switch? Obviously,
it's
I don't
not
have
going to
the time
be
because
$300.
Yeah, and I would not expect it to be. I'd expect it to be $400, and then I would be sad
right
because it's the price of a PS5 discless version, and then I'd tell you to just go buy one of those, or go buy an Xbox Series S and go buy a cheap Switch.
They're never going to be. I mean, 4K portable. That's something. Like, that's a reason to spend $400. If it's portable and not just ported like on the TV 4K, like is it a 4K screen, or is it just like on a TV it could support it?
Well, from what I remember before, it was that only the screen was 4K. I'm sorry.
So not on the
TV was 4K.
Oh, so yeah, then
and get a boost of 1080p on handheld.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's pretty good. It's handheld. What do you expect? I mean, it's going to be not as good. It switches from handheld to a console. Like, you can't put a price tag on that. Actually, you can. It's $300. 4K, though.
Actually, you can.
On the TV, 4K.
You can
400.
See, I keep doing horrible price comparisons. I love my Switch so much. I obviously would buy a 4K Switch. I have like 5. I obviously would buy a 4K Switch, but I would just tell people to go buy an Xbox Series S for $300 and play all the Switch games on Game Pass when they eventually come over.
I wouldn't.
Like,
You can't get Zelda on Xbox.
Then you can play them in 4K, and then for whatever you can't, just go buy like a Switch Lite or like a regular Switch for $300. Like, why go buy one for 4K TV,
Oh.
bruh? Like,
I will say though, I think
Right.
if you're going to increase the price, I mean, obviously, yeah, like the screen output and stuff is a big deal on it. But I think, you know, if you're going to pick up the price and it's going to be like a hefty
better be memory.
Better memory, you know, and then put the fucking, to me, to this day, one of the things, and I'm actually mad you never like it called, attack Nintendo for this when you talk about the Switch is there's no native Bluetooth on a system that came out in 2017.
I literally bought an extension for Bluetooth for my AirPods, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
You already. Oh, and you know what? Actually, that just because you just said extension, that reminds me. For the love of God, if you're gonna make it, pricier, the dock. Excuse me. The dock better have the Ethernet cable.
Yes.
I don't have to go buy an adapter.
Simple things.
Oh yeah.
That guess what? All come in that $400 PS5.
But it's a lot fucking bigger.
That's true. You can't take it on the go.
True. You can't.
But
you
get
carry your
4K.
PS5
But even thinking about the Switch dock and the PS5 or Xbox,
it's huge.
The dock is like pretty small in comparison. You know.
Yeah. I've taken docks to friends' house many times because it's so small.
It's so small, and I don't know. They could add more though, especially if you're going to pay $400. They might as well just make it a little bit bigger and add that. But then,
exactly.
Did they add?
But then, isn't that like a new console though? I mean,
it's still a Switch. Did they add
I think so. I don't think so.
I feel like
I think right now the only streaming one I think right now the only streaming thing is YouTube. I'm not too sure.
Switch for $300. I've been doing this shit for $300. Why did y'all let me buy another one? The fuck?
Let you?
Yeah.
Hey, that was all you. That was
You regularly surprise us with Switch purpose.
No. This red one was Gabe's fault because he told me to go buy it.
No. Look, if you guys could read the chat, everyone who knows me knows that 99% of the time I'm being very sarcastic. I said, do what you want, bro. Go buy it. That was an angry message. That wasn't do what you want, bro. Go buy it. No, whatever.
He's like, go buy it. So
because I spent the whole day giving him reasons why he shouldn't buy it, and he goes, "But it looks so pretty." I'm like, you know what, bro? Go ahead and do what you want. I don't.
The last sentence literally said, "Go buy it," and I was like, "That's all I read was the last sentence." And I was like, "Bought."
He was waiting for the.
You don't read the messages I sent. That's okay. That's cool.
When someone asks me if they should buy something, I always say yes. Buy it.
Yes.
This is also me.
I just say you deserve it.
Exactly.
Treat yourself. We're struggling.
Literally screwed no matter what. Anyone I asked, they would have been like, yes, go buy it. So speaking of things I'm gonna go buy, I'm gonna go buy Outriders. And I don't know if you guys heard, but the Outriders demo is out for Xbox right now. Xbox, PlayStation, PS5.
Why are you gonna buy it? Game Pass.
I'm sorry, I just totally broke up. What'd you guys say?
Why are you gonna buy it? It's on Game Pass.
So that's what I was gonna tell you guys, that Outriders supports crossplay between all its platforms. So how do you feel about that? Just go and play it on Game Pass?
Yeah, Game Pass.
And then you can still play with your friends on PlayStation who don't have an Xbox. And your PC friends who don't want to buy either one.
I'm not buying it.
And go and get consoles because they're too good for them. I mean, Kellie has consoles. That doesn't count. That's not directed at Kellie. That's directed at every PC idiot on Twitter that as soon as a post goes up about a console, PC Master Race.
Well, I mean, if the shoe fits. If the processor fits.
If the shoe fits,
but honestly, the thing is, imagine you're playing a game and then on another screen you're Googling how to play the game. It's so convenient.
Why would you need to be Googling how to play the game?
Because I suck.
No, what you do is go to hpcriticalgaming, click on the menu where it says guides, and read one of our guides. The one that Kellie is going to be writing for Outriders.
Well, I'm going to be looking at HP Critical on the left and playing the game on the right.
There we go.
There it is.
I thought this was really great.
The freaking Agnes wink.
I thought this was really great.
Okay, I haven't finished WandaVision, so.
Who is Agnes?
From WandaVision, have you watched it?
The nosy neighbor in WandaVision.
Okay, so
WandaDart.
Every episode, Jerel. Did you actually watch it? I was like,
did I actually watch it? I was like, what the fuck is Agnes? I mean, did I watch it? I think I might have been watching something else and thought it was WandaVision. Who knows? Agnes. She's great. She's so funny. What a great character. God, I forgot what I was going to say now. I literally lost all train of thought. Whatever,
No,
it's
segue.
awesome. It's awesome.
Outriders crossplay, great. Speaking of things that are great, I'm trying to help you here, man.
Thank you. So speaking
Slow
of
me
things
down,
that
come
are-
on.
Speaking of things that are not great, first,
Oh.
not great, which is going to lead into something that could very potentially be even worse than not great. So there's a report that the PlayStation 3, PS Vita, and PSP stores will be closed permanently in July. This announcement is planned apparently for the end of this month. Also, for everyone listening, Kellie had to dip. She's got some important things to do. So I don't know if she's going to come back or not, but yeah, so we love you, Kellie. And we miss you already, and now it's a dude fest. Ew, all these penises come back.
Woo!
So, oh my god!
Just wave it all around, huh?
Oh my god! Anyway, there's my penis segue. Thank you. It's not episode 69. What is wrong with me? This is episode 60. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on today.
Oh, 60. Hey, we
It's
made it.
so crazy. Yeah, so there's a report saying the PS3, PS Vita, and PSP stores will be permanently closed in July of this year. I read that and I was like, what trash is this? Literally the first thing I thought was, this is why I always go physical. Like, this is... It's crazy to me because the PS3 is still, like, I don't feel like it's that old. I feel like people still play their PS3. I know, obviously, we don't, but I pulled out my PS3 just the other day to play, oh my god, what game was I playing? It's a game that's gonna get a remake soon. It's Square Enix Saga something. I don't know if I played Prince of Persia. Whatever, it's one of those games. I literally just pulled out my PlayStation 3 to play it the other day, and I was like, how are they closing the PlayStation 3 store? Or even the PSP? Like, people are still making indie titles for PSP. There are still, like, PSP exclusive titles that I just bought Final Fantasy VI on the PSP for, like, $6 the other day from the PlayStation store. And it's crazy to me that PlayStation is just like, we can't support this shit, bye. Like, how do you do that? What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, no.
I just don't know.
Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I just don't know how they're still selling titles for it, and then they're just going to close it. Like, just stop selling the stuff, and then a little while later close it. Like, you just bought a title for the PS. Like, how are they going to close it after they're still letting people spend their money on the store?
I guess, and how would that work? I guess if you buy digitally, you gotta download it and just never delete it? Because you can't, like, go back to the store
you
and
can't
re-download it?
You gotta keep what you got once it happens.
Can you imagine? Like, you gotta buy, like, 10 SD cards right now just to put all of your downloaded
Just to
games?
get whatever you wanted. Yeah, exactly. By the way, PSP Go's are gonna be useless.
Where's the PSP Go?
PSP Go was that special PSP that, like, had this, like, slide screen where the buttons were and the screen was there. But the most important thing about it was that it was download only. It had no physical cards for the PSP. Yeah. Did download only. I would have never gotten that thing, because that thing is just because, two games never came digitally. That'd be Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep and Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core. So,
both of which you can no longer purchase in July digitally for the PSP.
They weren't available digitally ever. Those two games I just
couldn't buy them
mentioned.
anyway.
Exactly. But now every other game gets a joy.
I just, I think of, like, Danganronpa, and I think of, which is available now, everywhere, or at least on PlayStation. But I think of games like, the Nonary games, Danganronpa, Persona 4 Golden, like, all these titles that came originally to PSP, that, are usually on
Wait,
sale.
Golden was Vita. Wait, is Vita getting
Vita.
discontinued? Is Vita also getting discontinued, or is it just PSP and PS3?
Okay, excuse me. PSP and PS3 and whatever I said.
Vita as well?
Did I say? Yes, sorry, yes. PS3, PS Vita, and PSP, yes.
Vita too! That's not that long ago. What the hell?
That's why I was like,
no.
No, go ahead.
Dude,
Go ahead.
that's god awful. People were just getting Persona 4 Golden because of its
Because of
recent
Persona
Steam
5.
release.
Yeah, like it's that's why I was like, what? Obviously, the PS3 released in 2006 sold 87 million units during its lifetime. The PS Vita apparently was a little bit of a flop, as we know. It was released in 2011, sold between 10 to 15 million units, which is really bad for a lifetime cycle. Like, and I guess when you look at those numbers, it's first of all, it was always a very niche like console, right? A lot of the stuff on there was very much like they had some crazy sexual hentai like graphic novel stuff. They had some obscure shit on the Vita that you can only buy, digitally. A lot of it you can't go into GameStop and buy some of this stuff. Like they have a library of crazy shit. So I don't know, man. I just think that's such a, I guess from a collector's point of view, like from a video game fanatic fan view, it's like that's a collection of games that are just gonna, if they don't come to Steam or somewhere else, just completely disappear. And that is crazy.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, we're talking about like how in less than a week from this recording, that Nintendo is like discontinuing a few games. But like, let's talk about how Sony is not really caring about the whole game preservation thing in this case, because like, if they were like importing this library to like another modern system, like even or PS5 or something like that, and be like whatever, right? But yeah, that's an entire library of games that, if you wanted to get them digitally, you're just going to be out of luck. Obviously, if you still have a PS3, you can still get the disc, or if a PSP, get the card, Vita, whatever. But the problem is a lot of those physical games for certain games get really expensive, especially if it was a very niche game. So what you could have gotten at potentially, the retail price of like $50 for like a PS3 game, then the shop gets closed down. Now you got to go online, and this niche ass game is like $100 or $120, and now you're paying double.
Scalper Playground,
and that sucks. And Scalper's Playground. That sums it up pretty well. And if a game was digital only, well, yeah, you're fucked.
Buy it now before July.
Buy it now.
It's
they haven't made their official announcement yet, but they said it is expected to come soon. So, if there's some games you want, and you still have your system, you still care enough to play it on those systems, I do it.
All I know is them bitches gonna owe me money. If I buy something digitally and I can't download it because they close their shit, somebody finna be mad because I'm finna get my $6 back for Final Fantasy VI. I don't give a fuck.
So
I want my money.
Actually, I have a speculation.
Oh.
Again, I'm a man of very high hopes. Which usually leads me to disappointment. But them closing down those stores, along with the fact that they also said that they wanted to start adding trophies, older games. I'm gonna take your segue from you because this is gonna fit into my point. So they're taking they want to put trophies for older games, and then all of a sudden they're shutting down the PS3, the PSP, and the PS Vita stores. As much as Sony hasn't shown care for backwards compatibility or moving older games to their new system, there could be a small sliver of hope that the reason Sony is doing this is because they're getting ready to start putting a lot of their older game stores, like all the games they just mentioned. I can't remember old games right now. And they're going to put, they're going to have their own little retro category on the new PSN store. So while it does suck that you can't you won't be able to upload you won't be able to turn on your PS3 or your PSP and then go into the store whenever you want now after July and buy a game you want. I do think there is a brighter side coming. I don't know. Chances of that happening are very low because Sony is Sony. And as much as I love them, they really suck at bringing games over to their newer system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to speak on that really quickly, there's an article over at IGN that says titled PlayStation patents the ability to add trophies to older emulated games, and it talks about how for that what they would do is if you own a game on your PlayStation account that they have retrofitted trophies for, you would then gain those trophies. So it's not like they're like, it's not essentially that they're going to be, you know, reworking all these games. It's kind of just like, if you have a really old game that now has trophies, you're just going to get a notification like, hey, you just got all these trophies from that game you played on your Vita a few years ago, or hey, you got all these trophies from a PS3 title that didn't have trophies at the time, or some shit like that. So it's not even that they're working on implementing a way to be able to play these games. It's just like, to me, it's more like here's, hey, remember that game you can no longer buy? Here's a goodbye for you, like a nice little. There's a trophy for that game you played that's no longer available ever. Enjoy. Like,
now you can't get all the trophies because you can't buy the game,
and now you'll never be able to get them all.
Now you'll never get the platinum. Yeah. Dude, that's grimy for another reason, because imagine like. What if the trophy requirements were like really obscure? Like, you thought you did everything in that game, and you're like, oh yeah, if they retrofit it, I'll definitely get the platinum. And then it was like, walk 5 feet in this area. Oh, you didn't do that? Well, no platinum for you, fucker.
It mentions how the system would perform validity checks on the code of older games to determine if criteria has been met to award players with trophies by tracking disk access in-game and monitoring strings and frames. It also mentions cloud computing, suggesting this technology could interface with the PlayStation Now service. So, I mean, obviously, like this could be their way to make people play PS Now, like Gabe said.
Sure.
Or it could just be a big fuck you, we're done. Have these trophies as your last goodbye. This is all you get.
God.
This game, 99% trophies complete. Well, how the fuck am I gonna get 100 now,
You'll
asshole?
never get it. It's gone forever.
No. Oh man, completionists are going to cry.
But the things that are not gone forever is the service that we're using
God,
right
sideways.
now. Is the service that we're using right now to record this called Discord. So breaking news, reported over at Bloomberg, Microsoft is in talks to acquire Discord, a video game chat community, for more than $10 billion, according to people familiar with the matter. There have been let me go ahead and read the tweets for this from Bloomberg. It said Discord is known for its free service that lets gamers communicate by video, voice, and text, and people stuck at home during the pandemic have increasingly used its technology for study groups, dance classes, book clubs, and other virtual gatherings. Microsoft, which last year sought to buy social media app TikTok and held talks to acquire Pinterest, has been shopping for assets that would provide access to thriving communities of users, sources say. There's a big opportunity to bundle Discord's premium offering, Nitro, into the Game Pass service to drive more subscriptions from the last reported 18 million, says Bloomberg intelligence analyst Matthew Canterman. So I wanted to give you guys that just so you know what, like, the topic has been, what people have been talking about, like, why is it that Microsoft would purchase Discord, and I completely agree with that. I feel like this is another way to integrate people into the Microsoft ecosystem and slowly push them towards Game Pass, get more Game Pass subscribers, especially for people on PC who don't have an Xbox, and then, you know, add a way to integrate Discord directly into the Xbox through an app or something, and then now we're all getting on our Xbox using Discord and integrating that somehow into Game Pass for free, essentially, if you're already paying for it. So I can totally see reasons why this would happen. I also, am very cognizant of companies when they buy free for use services and then they integrate them and start charging for portions of that service. So how do you guys feel about this?
Well, real quick, I want to ask you guys something. Are any of you familiar with the Simpsons steamed ham skit?
No, I don't watch The Simpsons.
No one's here? Okay, then this is going to be exclusively for the audience because I have to read this out. So Skinner looks at the burning thing and says, "Egads, my Skype is ruined. What if I were to purchase Discord and disguise it as my own?"
Oh, true, because Skype is trash.
Yeah.
And so they're just gonna go buy Discord instead. Okay, but like
credit to that joke goes to PC Mag. They made that tweet and I just howled. It was great.
But also, I mean, look how they did Mixer.
Yeah, look how they did Mixer.
But that was their thing. They didn't did they acquire it?
No,
I
it
thought
was theirs.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
That's
but
true.
still, I feel like if you like, yeah, so it's not going to be the same, obviously, because you're right, Kelly. Like, this was not, Discord is not there, so it would just be acquiring it. But I feel like mismanagement can lead to bad things. I'm not saying Microsoft mismanages anything, because, I mean, they're making billion-dollar deals right now that seem to be really good. But I'm still concerned.
You can be, and you should be. Like, yeah, like you said, if they start charging for features on Discord, that could be a problem. The positive outlook is if it leans more people more into the Xbox, your Microsoft ecosystem, and don't do anything grimy, then sure, whatever. More people will be looking at the Microsoft products. Discord is a very, anybody can use it, of course, but it seems to have more focus towards people that play games anyway. And if they're already linked to it with Microsoft, and that connection's already there, then it can only get new eyes, right? But it's not like it'll sway someone who's really not into it in the first place. I think it's just
disagree.
Okay.
You're probably right, Jerel. But I'm literally just thinking about Gabe right now.
I only say I disagree.
The Gabe is not going to use Discord after it's acquired by Microsoft and be like, "Damn, I should get an Xbox system."
Well, no, I don't mean that, but I think it's such a smart idea to go after something as big as Discord, which has so many users, and like those tweets said, like, people using it for whatever reason, and then, slip in those Xbox ads, slip in that Game Pass ad, and then, you have communities on Discord, so it's like right after I do my, dance class over Discord video, someone in there might be like, oh yeah, Game Pass, I'm about to play on Discord with my friends. Like, oh shit, can I sit in? Can I see how this is? Boom, now you've got a new Game Pass subscriber. Like, it's so easy to just fucking do anything. People will buy everything. They're at home sitting on stimulus checks. Go buy Xboxes and join Discord. I don't know. Do whatever you want.
If you could get them.
Microsoft direct deposit $1,400. The next day, I'm buying Discord.
Purchasing Discord outright. What did PlayStation just buy? Evo?
They bought Evo, last week.
But PlayStation's slacking. They bought Evo. Microsoft trying to buy Discord. Like, what's going on? They bought ZeniMax. Like, Microsoft bought ZeniMax. PlayStation, let's go, y'all. Buy some. Just buy something just to flex. You don't even need it.
I know.
Just buy it just because.
Because Sony has acquired Disney.
like, fucking do it. Go buy Nintendo. Fuck it. Just work together, an agreement,
dude,
merge,
okay.
Do something. I don't care.
If we ever get to a dark future where Sony is able to buy Nintendo, that would be the perfect comeuppance to Nintendo for those who know about the history of the Nintendo PlayStation thing.
Yeah, I just I don't know. I just want Sony to flex for a little bit. Like, go buy something, throw that money, or maybe they shouldn't. Just save your money. Don't flex.
Shit, exactly. Save your money long enough that when Microsoft is finally done stretching themselves out, buying all these big things, you're just like, yo, Microsoft, sorry, buddy, you've been bought.
Buy Microsoft?
Let Microsoft buy everything, and then buy Microsoft.
That's what fucking Disney did. Disney's like, I'm gonna let everyone else buy a bunch of Marvel characters, and then when their movies suck, I'm gonna buy them.
That's great.
With Fox.
That's great. I don't know. I just want Sony to do something at this point. Yeah. So Kelly, Gabe, we use Discord. How you guys feel about it?
I mean, I don't know. I'm a Microsoft fan, so okay, I'll still use their products.
I'm gonna be mad when there's a big update pushed to Discord, and then all of a sudden you can't use it anymore because the update broke something, and then you gotta wait a couple of days for the next update to fix that update. I'm just saying. I'll still use it though, as long as they're not trying to make me pay to do things anymore. Like, oh, you gotta pay to create a new, what is it called? New channel within your server. We're like, no, you can suck my toe. I'm not doing that.
So to all of our listeners, if there's ever an episode in this podcast where we're not using Discord anymore, it's because Microsoft fucked up somewhere. I just want to give that disclaimer well in advance, so y'all know.
Catching us on Zoom.
Oh my
or back
god!
on Skype.
Oh Oh god. Honestly, like, never mind. I don't actually want to do a comparison of Skype and Zoom. But I do want to close this by asking you guys what you think PlayStation should or can do, not with the convergence, but what you think they should or can do for backwards compatibility, because, you know, Microsoft is literally like, play every old game, our servers hold everything, you can play it on your new stuff, and Sony's shutting down like 3 different server studios.
Maybe to put it all, hopefully to put it all on their one now.
Yeah. That would like I said, that would be the hope. Like, realistically, there's no way they're gonna make the retrofit the old discs to work on the current PlayStation 5. That's not happening. But if they could just take their back catalog they have now, even if it's realistically, even if they did that, it definitely wouldn't be all at once, because that is way too many fucking games. But if they were, like, you know, every few days drop maybe a few of them, that'd be fine. As long as it's not a drip feed like Nintendo. Like, if you guys remember the Wii Virtual Console days or the Wii U Virtual Console days, where we got like maybe 1 or 2 games, maybe a week, sometimes 2 weeks, and then, you know, the system is done and you didn't even get half your games out there. Like, let's not do that. Let's maybe a little more frequent than that, and I think we're okay. And now we're in the current Switch era, where now every 2 or 3 months they'll be like, here's these 3 Super Nintendo games and 1 NES game. Have fun. Oh, those are not the Super Nintendo games we wanted.
This is crazy, because this is the first time I can't yell at Nintendo for something that Sony's doing that they're not doing. Because even though
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, even though, you know, Nintendo's actually slow dripping some of these older titles out, Sony's just like, no. Like, they're just like,
exactly.
No.
Exactly. So, but
you know what?
Also,
that's kind of a bit of a flex in itself. Like, they're just like, the fuck you guys, go buy a PlayStation 5. But even then, a lot of their PS4 games, like, you know, we thought it was all going to be backwards compatible. Not even all their PS4 games are backwards compatible for PS5. They really are pushing, and I understand why. Like, the PlayStation 5 is a hotcake seller. Like, it won't stop selling. It's doing crazy numbers. Even if it is, like, obviously, even if it we have to account for scalpers. But, like, PlayStation 5 is still sold out. It was the best selling new games system, right? Like, I continuously, yes, push people towards this because it's selling fucking crazy numbers. That's it.
That's all.
My biggest problem.
I just want The Simpsons Hit and Run from PlayStation 2 on a current gen.
Like, I just want my game.
I just want that. If
Where's
you can
the
give me
Simpsons
that, I'd buy a PS5. Just give it to me.
Okay, Gabe.
Play one old game. My thing is, and like this isn't just directly at Sony, but like my thing is, if people can emulate these older games to run on a computer, I don't see why you can't do it with the software you have. And it's not like these games are big files that you have to like rework around and, you know, change something around and try and decrease the file size so it fits on your digital store. A lot of the older games were small files. Just remember, this whole hard drive thing, this whole hard drive thing for your PS4 and your PS5, it started with the PS4. The PS3 was perfectly fine with, you know, having a bunch of games on it, having the memory for it, having the memory for updates and stuff. So my train of thought just went right out.
I was like, he just abruptly stopped.
I'm as done as Sony is with their store.
Honestly, yeah, because it's just like, yeah, old games, they look like shit, but there's some games that were just fun to play,
even when they didn't look the best. Yeah, no, I agree.
Like to not give your players this whole backwards compatibility thing is like,
I just think they want the graphics. They just want the graphics to look good, I guess. I don't know. There's a reason why they're not doing it. Because I think they have the capability. I just don't know why.
I mean, I agree with that, but like, I mean, again, you let a game like Cyberpunk come out for a couple of weeks on your store.
And
Don't
then
gotta worry about that shit anymore, bro.
Yeah.
But it's still people still bought it. It's not like we're getting a new game. Like we know what the game is. Like if they were like, oh, Lord of the Rings. This is a very unknown game, probably to you guys, but to me, this was one of my favorite games. Like Lord of the Rings Conquest is coming to PS5 in a retro store. I'm so happy you do, and
I was totally lying.
Actually, hate you. I don't like you anymore.
I'm so sorry.
Can't believe what you just did. But basically, it was like Star Wars Battlefront, but for Lord of the Rings. And like,
wait, excuse me, what?
You told me that game was coming to PS5. No, yeah, it was like Star Wars Battlefront, except Lord of the Rings.
You better let me know when this comes on modern console, because now I want to play it. Shit, I love
never going to come to modern console because it was when EA had the rights over Lord of the Rings, and they no longer.
Damn.
I don't know why. Yeah. So like, if you tell me that game's coming on console, and be like, well, fuck yeah. Like, I know the game's not going to look as good as it did when I first started playing it because times have changed. I'll still be happy about it. Like, I don't know. Like, I it was a long time ago. Someone told me like, oh, Sony doesn't do the backwards compatibility because they don't want to give their fans the bad graphics. I'm like, bro, I can't say the word right. Leave me alone. I'm like, that's such a stupid reason not to give players their older games. Like,
did you guys see the comment
I said
by
like 100 times this past 5 minutes?
Actually, this is not a recent statement, but like Imran Khan, when he was talking about like this whole story, he had brought up an old quote by Jim Ryan of PlayStation saying like, he said two statements. The first one, people don't want to hear it, but it's kind of true. And says backwards compatibility is something that's often requested but rarely used. But then his second statement was like, besides, we want to focus on new graphics. Why would anyone want to play these old games?
Yeah.
Because they're fun sometimes, dude.
Well, the last thing I'll say... Oh, Kelly, you had something to say?
No, I just, honestly, that's a really true statement because I buy new games and I'd rather play new games. I never play the old games. I want to purchase them and I want to have them, but I don't play them. Like, I've bought retro games off Steam and on my PlayStation and stuff, and I just never play.
Oh, yeah, because you're playing all the new stuff.
Yeah, because there's just not a day and too many video games to play. So that's a problem. It's the
It is a kind of struggle. I mean, all I'm saying is I do a series every week where I go to old games to see if they still hold up. So I think there's still some value in some old games.
Yeah, but some of them don't.
Despite what this man is saying. Oh, they don't. In fact, this week's episode, when we played two games, one of them held up sublimely, and one of them, oh boy, it did not. But hey, you won't know until you get to try them. So that's all I'm saying.
That's true. If you have the time. So the last thing I will say before we close is, so I don't know if you guys saw this, but I sent the Smart Delivery Just Makes Sense from Xbox. And they did that wonderful meme of like how Smart Delivery works. It's one guy holding a game and he literally just gives it to the other guy and it just works because it just works. Whereas on the PS5, you literally have to have a fucking like guide on how to make your PS4 game work on PS5. And I'm gonna end the podcast right now. But I wanted to bring that up because I did want to talk about it, but there's no time. So there's that. You guys do with that what you will. Assume what Gabe, Brandon, and Kelly would have said about it. Maybe we'll bring it up next week. Maybe we won't. We probably won't because we're gonna go to sleep now. And with that, make sure you check us out on YouTube. Follow everyone's channels. They'll be in the article description. For and as well as if you're listening to this, it'll be in the description for the episode. Make sure you check out hpcritical.com, sign up for our newsletter. There's also a bunch of stuff we didn't talk about. Maybe we'll throw it in next week. Who knows? We'll see what happens. We're people. We live. Things change. News happens. Things happen. Bye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Let's go! HP Critical!